Welcome to the 2020 Hellbound Horror Festival Awards and Showcase. I founded this festival because I love horror. I know you fine folk do too, and I love to make horror shorts, and I just love the period of October especially. It's my Christmas essentially. We just wanted to award and showcase a whole brilliant selection of films which we've curated, and we're going to show you that tonight.
Thanks, Alex. Tonight we are going to be showing you a selection of 8 incredible films, but don't worry, you'll get a glimpse of all the other selections as well. Plus, we have some amazing exclusives just for this broadcast and a few surprises as well. And now, Alex will be introducing our first film.
Our first film comes from Cindy Stenberg from Sweden. Enjoy.
Ska du köpa den nya sommarspelet eller?
Ja, jag tror det. Om jag inte håller ut och bara ska klapsa med.
Vad gör du?
Ja, jag bara väntar på ditt rum. Jag vill ha boj också!
Och boy också, fan har ju det blivit känt.
Jajamensan, kan ni fan på.
Alex, 1 eller 2 skopor? Hallå, 1 eller 2?
Va? 2 skopor vill vi ha. Så när blev du spirituell?
Va? Jaha, nej det är morsan. Hon var på någon healingkurs och så köpte hon den. Hon tyckte det var jävligt viktigt att jag hade den över sängen.
Vad gav den? Så du skulle ha den ovanför din säng?
Jo, det var någon överskyddande fas eller någonting. Kastade de fångar åt alla.
Men vad gör de då?
Typ tar en mardrömmar eller skyddar en från ont. Inte vet jag.
Så de fångar alltså in mardrömmar och andra läskiga saker. Man får inte skaka dem. Så
nu släpper jag alltså ut alla dina mardrömmar. Muhahaha.
Hallå?
Jo, hej du. Alltså jag blir sen ikväll i alla fall. Folk börjar sjukskriva sig nu på kvällen så jag kan inte fara härifrån.
Jaha, ja okej. Det är lugnt.
Men du, jag tar med dig ut i helgen. Jag bjuder på någonting gott. Kan vi göra det?
Visst. Men jag väljer restaurangen.
Okej, ja men toppen. Ja men vi kör på det. Men du, jag måste gå nu. Det blir nog ganska sent. Det kan bli midnatt. Så jag älskar dig. Puss puss.
Hej då.
Nova, när la du dig igår?
Typ vid 10 tror jag. Vad är du sugen på för mat i helgen då, mamma?
Ja, men jag funderar på något asiatiskt kanske. Är du sugen på det?
Mamma!
Men du, förlåt att jag inte kom igår som det var tänkt.
Mamma! Det är lugnt. Du är här nu.
Du då? Fixar vi det sen?
Snälla sluta. Nej! Vänta! Snälla vänta. Snälla sluta. Snälla vänta.
So that was Dreamcatcher by Cindy Stenberg, an absolutely fantastic film from Sweden. I think the two kids are super talented. A brilliant film, special effects are excellent, and one of the most well-rounded films we received out of all of the submissions, and pretty wonderful overall. And Nadia, how are you doing? This is the first time we've seen you this evening, and it's great to kind of catch up.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Nadia, and I like to stay behind the scenes, but I'm popping up now. I am the content curator for the Hellbound Horror Film Festival, and I'm really excited to show you all what we received so far.
Yeah, we've had some absolutely fantastic films, and we'd love to show all of them, but it would just end up being a 6-hour show.
You'll be
something
so
crazy.
massive.
We just wanted to kind of have an overall show with Cosplay Showcase, produced by Michael Chan. He's kind of headed that up, and we just didn't want an overly bloaty show like some other award shows we've seen before. So we've kind of whittled down the films overall, and just given the judges a really nice selection to pick from, to pick their favourites, and for Alex Prize to pick the best film overall. And we've got a great film from Spain called Nom by Angel Hernandez Suarez next. And what did you think of it, Nadia?
I really felt as though this was something that was unique. It's not a copycat of any of the films that we've seen in the past, or something that was in theaters, or even any of the anthology books that we would think when we think about horror novels, especially anything from Stephen King or from R.L. Stein, for the kids who thought Goosebumps was scary, even though as an adult I don't find it scary. But I'm really proud of what Angel was able to provide to us. So I hope you all enjoyed as well.
Hola, ¿averiado?
Sí, algo en el cambio que no sé muy bien qué ha pasado ahí.
Es que estos cambios antiguos suelen dar problemas.
Sí, la verdad que sí.
So that was Nam by Angel Hernandez Suarez. And, you know, when I look at the scenery in that film, I feel like that's any town that we could have been in. That's just any place that we've been before. And it really, truly captivated how things can just happen right next door to you. So I want to thank you to Angel for showing us and submitting that film to us. And now we're going to get into our next film, and it's entitled Creepy Jack. And at my first glance of this film, I was like, oh, the little boy's so cute. He's so harmless. Not the case. So coming from the United Kingdom, we have Creepy Jack by Brian Madison.
Alexa, play Mike's playlist.
Play Mike's playlist. Sorry, I'm having trouble connecting.
So that was Creepy Jack. Fantastic film. So much packed into it. I think Brian J. Madison, the director, produced a fantastic short film with his son. So more power to you, Brian. Absolutely brilliant, mate. Fantastic. And we're just going to take a short break now and show you some little...
Hey, so it's been a lot of fun so far, but I think it's time we took a little break so we can go purge ourselves. For those of you who are staying with us for this intermission, please enjoy the Hellbound Community Cosplay and Art Showcase.
my name's Dave Kendall. I'm here to, I'm one of the judges for the Hellbound Film Festival, and it's been a fantastic group of films. A little bit about myself. I'm a comic illustrator, mainly, but I also do other fantasy and horror illustrations. My first job was with who's called the godfather of British comics, a guy called Pat Mills, who created 2000 AD, and he created a colour comic with a guy called Kevin O'Neill, who was the illustrator for Martial Law and works with Alan Moore on the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He actually noticed my work first and sent it on to Pat, and I did a story for Toxic, which was a comic that they were producing to rival 2000 AD at the time, called Psycho Killer, which, strangely enough, was about a psychiatric doctor who dealt with real possessions, exorcisms, demonic possessions, walk-ins and werewolves and everything else. And we told this particularly nasty story about a gangster who'd possessed an East End boy and was busy slaughtering his way around London, which is Psycho Killer, which was taken from the, I can't remember his name, from the song Psycho Killer. And this doctor was brought in to deal with this gangster. So yeah, I started off, and that was pretty horrific. That's probably one of the most horrific things I've ever done, and that was my first professional job. From there, I did some work with Brian Lumley, who wrote the Necroscope series, drawing his vampire story for an American company called Malibu. Did a couple of issues of that, but unfortunately Malibu was taken over by Marvel, so that disappeared. I've also worked with, I do an awful lot of work with Magic the Gathering, which is a tabletop trading game company. They have a range of stuff in their cards with horror and fantasy and light and dark. Luckily, I tend to get a lot of the dark stuff for some reason, which isn't too bad. And but my main job I tend to work for at the moment is 2000 AD. I produce a story called The Fall of Deadworld, which involves Judge Dredd's nemesis, which is Judge Death. Now, if you don't know who Judge Death is, he's a judge from another dimension who decided that as all crime is committed by the living, if you remove the living, there will be no crime. He wiped out his first planet, the planet he was born on, and then he moved to Judge Dredd's world, where he fared less well. But we're telling the story of Judge Death's success in destroying his entire planet. I think we're running to about 300 pages now of this story, and I don't think we're even halfway through. We've elaborated a lot on John Wagner's the creator of Judge Death. We've elaborated on John Wagner's story and taken it further, added in new characters, trying to keep the canon correct so that the readers of 2000 AD aren't upset by the fact we're playing fast and loose with any rules already set in place. We're expanding a little bit, so we're getting a little bit Cthulhu-esque with our expansion of Judge Death and how he's actually destroying this planet along with his lieutenants, Fear, Mortis, and Fire. It's particularly horrific, and I mean, living in a world at the moment which is quite dystopian with disease and everything, going into a illustration job where I'm destroying a planet is kind of cheery, actually. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but yeah, it's a very fun job. It's an ongoing project, and all my other illustration work tends to work around that. But generally, I love drawing horror. I have sketchbooks full of horror drawings and illustrations. I have ideas lined up that I want to produce. But with comics, it takes an awful long time, and it's very work intensive to produce enough work. So, hopefully, I will get to realize those dreams. But at the moment, I'm very, very happy with what I've got on my plate. So, and it is pretty horrific. So you can find the Deadworld books online from Rebellion, who produced 2000 AD. So if you want to have a look, feel free.
Oh, hey, you're back. Yeah, So, if you have any horror cosplays of your own that you would like to show off, boy, do we have some great news for you. The Hellbound Community Cosplay Showcase will be continuing after this broadcast. Just submit your cosplay images to us via Instagram, and we will feature you on our social media accounts and our website. And now, back to the show.
Okay. Did you see that? Anyway, the next film you're about to see is one of my favorites. It's the most atmospheric of the films that we received. It's just so beautifully shot, and I cannot wait for y'all to watch it. So here we go.
It's done. No, it wasn't easy, but no, I'm all right. I just, nothing a stiff drink won't cure. No, it was quite the classic one. Yes, indeed, all remains, all known personal possessions, garments, salted and burned. Yes, there's nothing to worry about. Yeah, of course I did. Listen, I've been at this long enough. If I had concerns, I'd tell you, wouldn't I? Let me put your mind at ease. Everything was done, as always, by the book.
Then why do I not feel certain?
There is nothing further for us to concern ourselves with. The case is closed.
Rick, if only you would check in at the scheduled time.
Calm yourself, please.
Calm myself? I've been up half the night. I should have been asleep hours ago. Do you have any idea what day it is tomorrow?
Sunday.
That's correct. Sunday, the busiest day of the week.
Father, thank you. The point's been made.
Rick, are you sure?
Yes.
Why is the light so distorted?
It really is a very, very bad night out there. Father, the line now really is very, very bad. I can't hear you at all. I will call you tomorrow, okay?
It's white noise. Rick?
Father? Yes, you see, it was just a bad connection, that's all.
I'm sorry, I'm still very new to all of this, and I worry for you. For the job. I better leave you to settle down, but before I go... Rick? Rick?
So that was Relentless Rick by Gareth Evans, a British filmmaker. I think you can agree that Gareth created something quite beautiful, really. Super minimal, shot beautifully wide. I think it was anamorphic, and the atmosphere was brilliant. And one of the most well-crafted films we received, and a fantastic short film. So Gareth, fantastic, mate. Thank you very much. And now on to our first Judge Award, Judge's Pick. And this is from the great Joe Alves, production designer of Escape from New York, Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which he was Oscar nominated and BAFTA winner. So enjoy.
Hello there. Before I talk about the films in the festival, I will explain a little bit about myself. My name is Joe Alves. I spent a little over 45 years in the film industry. I always was interested in art and architecture, and that's what I went to study in school. At the time I was a teenager, I really wanted to work in films. I was at a art school in Los Angeles, and I was finishing my second semester, and I was looking for a job. A friend of mine said his wife's father worked at Disney, and I thought, oh, maybe I can get a job sweeping up. Well, I called him, and it just happened that he was the person that hired the artist, and he said, bring your portfolio. And I was just turned 19. I didn't think I was quite ready, but I brought it in, and he said, well, you're too late for the training program. They teach you Mickey Mouse and stuff, but I could put you in special effects. You know, the department that did the fire and things like that. So I was very fortunate. I went into a room, and this woman showed me how to flip the pages and draw between the lines. Unusual circumstances happened where she had to leave within a few weeks, and she was a breakdown artist working for her assistant, Dwight Carlisle, who was working for Josh Metter, who was the top effects animator. As it worked out, I was working for Dwight, and then Dwight had to go to the hospital, and so within a few months, I go from a trainee to an assistant animator, which was unbelievable, and it generally takes years. Anyway, Josh was working on a picture for MGM called Forbidden Planet, and he was animating this id, as a strange sort of creature. So I was fortunate to assist him. And later I worked on Sleeping Beauty. And at that time, Walt Disney used to walk around and sort of look at what people were doing. And he reached over my shoulder one time and corrected a drawing. So that was quite an experience. I really wanted to work in live action. And so I pursued set designing. And at that time, there was like 6 major studios, and they had all their regulars. And so if you started off like as a junior set designer. All the departments had department heads, and they would select who was going to do what. But you started off as a junior, whether it was camera, editing, what have you. So as a junior set designer, the union okayed that when it was available, that, you know, somebody was, there was an opening. And so you sort of went from one studio to the other, working on various projects until they were finished, and then you were let go until you became a regular. After a year or so, I became a regular at Universal. I became a senior set designer, and I worked on It's a Mad, Mad World and a lot of pictures of that type. Fortunately, through situations, I became an assistant art director, which is where I wanted to go. And I worked with an art director as his assistant, and we worked on Hitchcock's Torn Curtain. It's a picture with Paul Newman and Julie Andrews. And working with Hitchcock was quite an experience. I mean, this is a man who made some incredible movies. So I learned a lot from Hitch, how he approached, you know, the directing. We also worked on Elvis Presley's last movie called Change of Habit. Fortunately, after a year or two, I became an art director. And I got a television series called Rod Serling's Night Gallery. And in that series, they hired a lot of young directors, John Badham, Jeannot Schwartz, who I later worked with, and a young director by the name of Steven Spielberg. Now, Steven was doing a few television shows, and I worked on a Night Gallery, and I worked on a thing called The Psychiatrist with him. And then he got his first feature, was Zanuck and Brown, and it was called Sugarland Express. And it was sort of a road picture, and I got to know Steven quite well on that one, and we developed a really good relationship. Later, we did a picture called Jaws. And actually, I started on that before Steven because the producers, David Brown, sent me the galley sheets of the book because his wife, Helen Gurley Brown, who was an editor of Cosmopolitan magazine, had read it and said, this might make a good movie. So David called me and said, could I go through the galley sheets and make some illustrations that reflected the shark activities. As it went on, I would talk to Steven, you know, and if we did this movie, you know, he wasn't assigned to it yet, we would want to do a full-size shark. I mean, the biggest shark ever recorded, a white shark, was like 20 feet, but we wanted it 25 feet. As it turned out, at a meeting, the effects department said it would take 1.5 years to make it, and they had too many projects. So the head of production asked me if I could get the shark made. And so it gave me the full autonomy to get a crew and make the shark. And that's how that went. And as it was a very difficult film. But the success of Jaws then led us to our next film, was Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And that was for Columbia Studios, and they thought it should be a very low-budget sci-fi movie. As it turned out, with the success of Jaws, and the studio seeing that we made so much money on Jaws, that maybe Steven and I could do the same thing with Close Encounters. So that expanded. Steven's concepts expanded. My sets grew and grew until I think the set we built for Close Encounters at that time was a world record biggest set ever. There was no studios big enough, so I had to find an airplane hangar to make that. Then, as time went by, there was Jaws 2. They wanted me to do that as a associate producer, production designer, and I directed 85 Days of Second Unit. So my interest toward directing sort of went in that direction, and I've got a movie called Jaws 3, and I came up with the idea of doing it in 3D And so I got the directing job. And that was quite difficult, working with the 3D cameras. I worked with John Carpenter on a picture called Escape from New York, and also I did second unit for his film called Starman. Went on to do many more movies, and Geronimo, Everybody's All American, Free Jack, and whatever. So that was it. I mean, I spent, as I say, almost 45 years. Now, I'd like to talk about these films at the festival. First, The Dreamcatcher, I thought the young girl was really quite good. Second was Nom, M-O-N. Interesting photography. I liked all the inserts. The drinking the blood, that got a little weird. But, you know, there's a judgment on how good you think the film is and also how personally affects you. So that was interesting with the bike rider and the blood. Creepy Jack was a young boy I thought was really quite good. The animated movie was very clever, very short but very clever. Hollywood Dead Musical I thought was wonderful. I just love all the intercuts and the incredible visuals that were on that one. But the animated movie, yeah, that was quite clever. Let's see, probably though, I guess I have to say my favorite for emotional reasons, for the photography, for the animation of the clay was Golem. I don't know if that's pronouncing that correct, but Golem, I think, because of the actual historical value of it, I thought the acting was really quite good. And then, you know, intercutting to the stock footage of World War II. Anyway, so that's my choice, and I want to thank you very much.
Stay off! Nehema? Ich sagte, steh auf!
Congratulations again to Ryan Cauchi for your horror film Gollum. It was personally one of my favorites as well because I really appreciated the attention to detail with the costumes. This was the first horror film in our batch of submissions that had an actual period piece tied to it. So I want to say congratulations again to Ryan Cauchi. So now that we are going into our next film is actually a music video, and it was submitted by Clint Lewis. And I just want to say that this was actually the first film that was actually submitted to us, and it was actually a music video. So to receive a horror film in this medium was unique. So I hope you all enjoy Hollywood Dead.
So what did you think of the music video, Michael?
Oh my God, I loved it. It was one of the first films I watched from our submissions, and it blew me away.
Yeah, it was actually our very first submission as well. So no matter when I opened for submissions, this was the first one from Film Freeway. I think it's by a filmmaker called Clint Lewis, and I think just the energy and the production of it overall. And they were really happy that this is the first festival that accepted music videos, and they had some pushback from other festivals because it's not obviously a short technically.
Yeah, and I'm not used to seeing music videos on film festivals, so it was great to have one at ours.
Absolutely. That's well done, Clint. I think it's an excellent film, mate, and we've had some great submissions from Australia, but yours is one of the outstanding ones. So here's the film, The Animator. Enjoy.
So that was The Animator, brought to us by Trent Shy. He is in the United States. And I must say, that was the most gory stop animation I've seen. Comical, yet horrific. And I am so appreciative of all of the different mediums of horror that we received thus far. And I'm really excited for what we're going to get coming up in this other half. So tell us what's going on, Alex.
We've got a few more films to show. We've got obviously Best Film coming up, which is being picked by Alex Proyas, director of The Crow and I, Robot, a super talented filmmaker, and we've got a little special preview from him coming up as well. But first, we've got our first confirmed judge. That was Ramsey Campbell. He's been writing horror books for 60 years. He's been compared to H.P. Lovecraft. He's an early mentor of Clive Barker, the creator of Hellraiser, big influence on him. And he's here to pick his favorite film from a curated selection.
Ooh.
And so here's Ramsey.
Hello to everybody at the Hellbound Horror Festival. I'm Ramsey Campbell and I write horror. I've been doing so for most of my life, and I don't propose to stop anytime soon, indeed not until they nail me down. Even then perhaps there will still be the sound of a pen scratching within the box. My latest novel is The Wise Friend from Flame Tree Publishing, and PS Publishing have done an immense 2-volume retrospective of my short stories, phantasmagorical stories. But I'm here to tell you not about myself, but about the film competition, which it was my privilege, but also my hard task to judge, because the standard was remarkably high, and the decision, well, we'll come to that in a while. Let me just talk a little bit about the various films first. The Dream Catcher, which gave me a sense of mounting dread, leads to a genuinely nightmarish payoff, sort of thing that lodges in your mind after you've yourself gone to bed. N.O.M., the startlingly original take on vampirism, and also, I thought, an almost surreal metaphor for macho competitiveness. Creepy Jack packs a remarkable amount of narrative into less than 10 minutes, and some good shocks as well. Relentless Rick preserves its mystery almost to the end, and then reveals not quite all, but in quite a punch to the senses at the end. The animator, not even 2 minutes long, and a great deal more fun than you might expect to be packed into 2 minutes. Gruesome fun at that, a bit reminiscent of Sam Raimi, I thought, at his best. And, well, with a payoff you must see for yourselves, and I hope you do. The Hollywood Dead music video has all the energy we might expect from that form of filmmaking, and it also disturbs you, well, certainly disturbed me, with glimpses of things you're not quite sure you're seeing until it eventually resolves itself. As for the golem, even by the standards of this competition, it doesn't waste an inch of footage and starts with claustrophobic horror, but then branches out, widens out into something much bigger and remarkably startling. And the switch of tone struck me as being particularly imaginative. And last but by no means least, Flash builds up a sense of considerable unease by showing very little, just enough to accumulate a kind of pervasive dread that, for me, borders on the enigmatic. So, as I say, a very difficult series of decisions I had to make. And I watched all the films twice through and then thought about them. And even so, the judgment was hard. But I could only choose one film. Before I do that, though, let me say more power to everybody who was involved in all the films, and I very much hope to see more of your work in the future. And my final decision? Well, I think the film that haunted me most of all, not least for its nightmarishness and above all for its conclusion, was The Dreamcatcher. So congratulations to Cindy Stenberg and to everybody involved in the production. But once again, congratulations to everybody who competed, and may we see more of your work in the future. Enjoy Hellbound, folks.
I think you can agree, Ramsey picked a fantastic film in The Dreamcatcher by Cindy Stenberg. A brilliant film, the effects are great, storytelling was excellent, really well rounded, and so I think Ramsey picked a fantastic one. And Ramsey was our first judge, and I think The Dreamcatcher was one of our first films we received, so well done Cindy for that, and the rest of the team that made the film. And on to Flash by Ryan John Amy Henderson. He's a Scottish filmmaker, now he's based in Florida, and this is my personal favourite, and I won't tell you anything about it, but a brilliant film nonetheless. So enjoy.
Hi, this is Jess. I can't come to the phone right now, but please leave a message after the beep.
Got everything moved into the new place. Yeah. No, I haven't heard from him. I mean, I hope I don't. We all know what happened last time. I hope it goes well. Yeah. I think it'll go well. I mean, I hope it goes well.
I hope so.
I'm gonna let you go.
Okay. I'll talk to you later. This old thing. Really?
Oh, come on.
I know.
You're gonna be late.
I know. I'm running late. Well, I didn't get much sleep last night.
I don't care.
Thanks so much for your understanding.
Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying the Hellbound Horror Film Festival. My name is Ian Rayburn and I am a horror filmmaker from Toronto, Canada, and I wanted to take a few moments to talk about why I love horror and why I love being a horror filmmaker. As an 80s kid, I grew up in the 90s, and that meant a ton of trips to the video store, which ultimately would lead me into finding the horror aisles, where I very vividly remember walking down the aisles and looking at all the VHS box art. A lot of these movies would turn out to be iconic horror films that I love today, which I had no idea. I was just intrigued and terrified and fascinated with the box art. I remember my dad taping me Night of the Living Dead when I was trick-or-treating one year, and he told me that I would really like it and I should watch it when I was done. So I watched it on TV. And to be honest, at the time I didn't really appreciate it. It would introduce zombies into my life, which would then go into me falling absolutely in love with Romero and everything he did with zombies, more particularly Dawn of the Dead, but even more particularly Day of the Dead, which I was at an age when I saw that where I was really, really taken by the effects. I thought, these practical effects, this is what I want to do, and thus began many of the short films that I would do all throughout my childhood with Ketchup Blood and Spring Knives. You know, and as a horror fan, I love all of the classics, the Halloween series, Nightmare on Elm Street, Evil Dead, Hellraiser, everything. It seems the more violent it could be, the more I wanted to see it. Turning into my professional filmmaking career, I absolutely fell head over heels in love with all the production elements of making horror films, from, you know, the set design, the sound design, the lighting, you know, building that atmosphere and that mood, which ultimately helps to sell and to terrify your audiences. Fuck. I also fell in love with practical effects and immediately wanted to do as many effects as I could in my movies, and I will say they did get better over the years, thankfully. What can I say? I guess I just love killing people. So I just want to say thank you to everyone involved in the festival. I'm so excited to be a part of this in a very small way, to be able to celebrate the love of horror and celebrate all of this amazing horror work you all have created. So thank you to everyone, and good night.
I'll get lonely up here. Being the only person around I want to talk to. Only hearing noises at night, not sure if they're in your head, if they're real.
You start to lose track of days, minutes. You even wonder if anyone is out there, or if I'm even in here.
I don't know if I'm the first one, or the first one to figure it out.
The only thing that can control human is another human. Crazy. How fast a good thing can go bad. This place can play tricks on you. That is for sure.
Have a wonderful day.
Oh man, I've still got chills from that.
Yeah, it's got great atmosphere, and I think Ryan did a wonderful job with the atmosphere. I think that's actually his wife in the film, and I think I've seen a couple of his films before, and he kind of puts pressure onto her to be part of his films. But I think they've got a good partnership going, so that's great to see. So I'd like to talk a little bit about Dave Kendall.
Oh my God, Dave Kendall. I love his work. As a fan of Judge Dredd, I love Dave's work on the Fall of Dead World series. It's just his art blows my mind.
Yeah, it's I didn't realize I saw his work years ago on tabletop card games. So on Magic the Gathering, he's done most of them.
Oh, you're right. And I play that. I've probably seen his art on tons of cards. I actually probably own cards with his art on it.
Yeah, he's super talented, and like all our other judges, he's super generous with his time, and he's actually gonna. There's a little secret I want to kind of give now. This is an exclusive to the live event. Is that he's producing an original piece of art, a one-off for auction, to help support the festival for the best film winner. So I'm not going to say what that is.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So an original.
Oh my God, that's amazing!
Yeah, so I can't believe he's done that, and yeah, here's his pick, and so we've got a little award in his name to give out. So here's Dave to talk about his favourite film.
I'm here to present to be one of the judges for the Hellbound Horror Festival. Alex sent me 8 films, which were all of fantastic quality, and I'm just going to try and do a little bit a chat about each one and what I liked about them, and then choose my favourite at the end of it. And that's going to be very difficult, but I'll try and do my best. But because I'm choosing as a favourite doesn't necessarily mean that the others aren't up there as well. So the first time I watched was Dreamcatcher. What I enjoy about this film, first of all, I thought I carry my food on my cup like that to my studio too, and I particularly enjoyed that the interaction between the two children and this idea that this dream catcher contains something that could be shaken out. The actual creature was actually really quite spooky and disturbing, and I particularly like the cyclical idea of the thing going in the box and then the actual character, the actual main girl at the end being inside the box at the end as well. So I enjoyed that whole cyclical aspect of the film. It felt quite self-contained, which I really enjoyed. Some nice, like I said, some nice scares. The monster was rather nicely designed, simple but effective, and that's really quite important. It didn't show too much, and the end was, particularly spooky and final for the poor girl. The second film I watched was Nom. I can't pronounce the Latin expression of it. I haven't written that down, but yeah, Nom really intrigued me as a film. It once again a very self-contained film, and it was interesting that I had no real idea what was going to happen until almost halfway through the film, which kept me guessing. As far as I'm concerned, the old chap in the film was a victim, and something bad was going to happen to him. And the way it was turned around, that he was some sort of vampire sorcerer figure, stalking young men to regain his lost youth, was fascinating. And what I liked about it is that there was I had no need to know of anything else about the particular characters, and it was so well self-contained and so well bracketed. I didn't need to know the old guy's history. It was kind of implied in the background of the film, but yeah, that was a fascinating film. The next film was Creepy Jack, which was your everyday friendly Roman Catholic priest. It seemed to be about killing a whole school of children. Some nice sound design in that as well, with the music, and the small boy was very well acted. I particularly enjoyed the ending with the priest stalking the boy through the house. I personally, I would have kept it as a priest, because they're pretty scary in and of itself. I don't think priests need human masks, but yeah, overall, that was a really successful film. The next film I watched was Relentless Rick. So I have a list down beside, so if you see me looking off, I'm looking at the list. Relentless Rick, I liked the 30s feel. I liked it reminded me like of a John Constantine film. John Constantine was a character introduced in Swamp Thing who would investigate and put down supernatural threats. And it was a kind of an interesting little take of maybe the end of a case, and nicely shot, nice mood, really put you in the sort of 1930s sort of detective era, and a nice good shock at the end. You kind of knew was coming, but I was interested in the credits as well, the fact it was a banshee. And the good thing about this film, I wanted to know more about the actual background of Relentless Rick and this banshee he was chasing, and the priest who obviously employed him to do this chasing of the banshee or exorcising of the banshee. So that was a good film. Next film was The Animator. Lovely. I could watch that animation all day long. I mean, I love things like the Brothers Key and Street of Crocodiles. And I guess the fact is that a couple of minutes of animation probably took him so long, and it was just so gruesome and so telling. This the idea that the puppets finally having revenge on the animator itself. That was lovely. Hollywood Dead was a music video with some fantastic makeup, kind of in the Marilyn Manson vein, which obviously I'm quite a big heavy metal fan, and I've worked for heavy metal bands, etc. So I really appreciated the workmanship that went into that video, the actual editing and the musicianship. Most of my family play instruments. I don't. I'm too busy drawing, but that was a lovely video. Really enjoyed it. Listened to it a few times. Music's great. My type of stuff. The next film is Golem. This reminded me of a story I'd worked on called Houses of the Holy, a German monster vampire thing I do in my spare time, and work with a guy called Mike Carey. It had that same kind of feel that I drew into my comic. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I love the Golem legend. I love the little nod to the old Golem film with the kind of basin haircut version of the Golem, which was, I think it was a 1930s film. But I loved the design. I loved the simple glowing lights coming through the clay. That was rather nice. Yeah, the ending was rather disturbing. The fact that it was some sort of throwaway film watched by some obviously neo-Nazi, which was I think that was probably the most horrific bit in some ways. The actual monster bit was a fun monster movie, but the actual horror bit is the idea that it's just some sort of bit of entertainment for a neo-Nazi. And the final film was Flash, which was another fascinating film. I thought Flash had a wonderful lighting design, sound design. The atmosphere was incredible. I found myself looking into the dark corners of the film, trying to look for shapes and look for invaders in this woman's house. I was taking notes actually on some of the way that the lighting was used when she was lying in bed with the blinds and the lit wall. I'm sure that will be used by me later on in one of my comics. So that was a lovely film, very, very atmospheric, very moody, and intriguing. It had that kind of feel that I had no idea really where we were with the film. Was she actually being stalked? Was it a ghost? Was it something demonic? And I sometimes like that kind of ambiguity in a film at the end. It's a fascinating thing. But yeah, that has some lovely work, and that was one of my favorites. And I'm going to find it really hard to decide which is my favorite film. I'm torn. They were all fantastic, and they're all worthy of repeat watchings. But I think my favourite is torn between Flash and Nom. I think I'm going to go with Nom because it was quite unusual. The idea of this elderly cycling vampire going out and claiming victims. As someone who lives on a cycle track, I can understand that drive to. And I'm 51 now, so I'm going to get on a bit. I'm trying to keep myself fit, but I know it's a losing battle. So the existential horror of actually trying to keep fit and keep alive also comes into the film of this guy trying to retain his youth, which is next to impossible eventually. But the way he does it is fantastic. It's very creepy, and it's very surprising because I had no idea. I honestly thought he was going to be the victim and not the actual villain of the piece. So my pick for favourite film is Nom, I think.
So thank you, Dave, and thank you for your generosity to create an original piece for the festival and for the best film winner, which is our pleasure now to introduce. And we're not introducing it. We've got a visionary director, and it was our first judge to say yes, and it was one of our last to announce. And so, Michael, what do you think about the fact we've got Alex Proyas as a judge?
My mind is blown. It has been blown since the day he joined the judges panel, because growing up, The Crow was such a big part of my childhood. I love that film, and for Alex to want to be a part of this and be a part of this team, it's an amazing feeling.
And now we'll get into our final judge, the visionary filmmaker that is Alex Proyas.
Hi fellow horror fans, Alex Proyas here. I've made a bunch of movies including The Crow, Dark City, I, Robot, Knowing and Gods of Egypt, all with moments of horror, though I can't say I've really made a bona fide horror film. That's about to change as I'm currently working on a short film called Mask of the Evil Apparition. And if that doesn't sound just a little bit scary to you, then I'm here to tell you that it is. And I've got some features in the works that fit into the genre also. I'm making all these future horror films in my very own studio here in Sydney, Australia, called Heretic Foundation. Spooky name also. I think it might have something to do with the age we live in. Horror seems to reflect the spirit of the times right now. But the real reason I'm here is to talk about the Hellbound Horror Festival. Indeed, I'm meant to pass judgment on the nominated films, most certainly a difficult task. There are so many clever filmmakers out there right now, and with the tools of our craft being more affordable and available than ever before, there's little reason not to make a film or two if you are that way inclined. Making films is never easy. Doesn't matter if you're making a big budget epic or a no budget indie. Every film made is a triumph in its own way, and that should be commended. And if you manage to create something special, then even more reason to celebrate. Here are a bunch who haven't sat around waiting for the world to end, but have picked up a camera and created something special. So congratulations to all for that. And now let's start with the nominees. The Dreamcatcher by Cindy Stenberg from Sweden is a creepy little tale which really grows on you. A young girl finds herself at the mercy of her own nightmares, and when she and her young friend mess with stuff they really shouldn't. I think the secret to the film's success is the excellent performances by the young cast. Nom by Spanish filmmaker Angel Hernandez Suarez is a disturbing story played out in a simple but highly effective style. Sparse use of dialogue allows the atmosphere to dominate, and the excellent use of sound, great camera work, and the great score make the daylight horror work very effectively. I like this film because it creates a strong feeling of dread in a daytime and uncontained outdoor environment, something most horror movies avoid. This film uses it to great advantage. Creepy Jack by UK filmmaker Brian J. Madison uses a tried and true horror plot. Don't invoke the ghosts of child killers. It should be a motto. It never works out well. I can relate to this poor kid left alone in a dark house surfing the web for scary shit. We've all done it, but he really comes to regret it. Relentless Rick by another UK nominee, Gareth Evans, is deceptively simple and employs a contained claustrophobic period setting courtesy of the Dylan Thomas Museum to great effect. The film is a puzzle box, and saying much more than that would be to spoil its final moments. Turn off the lights and turn up the sound, and you'll thank me for it later. The Animator by US filmmaker Trent Shy is every animator's secret wish to wreak vengeance on their creations. From the day I'd stop motion dinosaurs only to have the wire armature snap in the middle of a take, I could only wish to rip those damn latex puppets apart in a gore fest of rage while they scream for bloody mercy. Yes, Trent Shy, and again, yes. Hollywood Dead. This music video by Aussie Clint Lewis is a polished video by a band who really do look like they belong in some club on Sunset. Are these folk really fellow Aussies? And how do I get to hang out with them? Hard rock, girls, and what looks like backyard plastic surgery. What more could you want in a music video? Gollum by Australian filmmaker Ryan Corshey is great fun. Who doesn't enjoy seeing Nazis ripped apart by a Yiddish clay monster? There's a lot of talented folk working on this one, and I love the use of stock footage integrated with the stop motion creature. De Golem is definitely a character I'd like to see taken on in a feature film. Hell, even I tried that once, but until that happens, we have this delightful film to enjoy. Flash by Scottish filmmaker Ryan Amy Henderson is an exercise in sustained dread. How long can you make an audience squirm? According to this film, quite a long time, really. Nice creepy lighting, just what I like. Everything and everywhere feels like someone's turned off the lights, even in the scenes in broad daylight. Except for those blinding flashes, what will be revealed each time the camera flashes. Strong use of sound here also. And there you have it, a great bunch of spooky fare. Thanks to all the filmmakers. You are all, every one of you, super cool and talented, and I encourage you all to keep at it. But I'm supposed to pick my favourite, and that's always hard. I'd love to give you all an award, as you all thoroughly deserve it. So rather than picking a film and having everyone other than the makers of that particular film hate me, I conducted a séance instead. I channeled the spirit world, and possessed, I wrote something down on a piece of paper and I placed it in this envelope. This is automatic writing, you see. I'm not responsible. The spirits have moved my hand and made me write down the best film, and the spirits know about this kind of shit. So here goes. Okay. The winner of the best film of the inaugural 2020 Hellbound Horror Festival is Nom by Angel Hernandez Suarez, particularly notable for its solid film craft and the breaking of the traditional mold of horror movie style. Isn't that fantastic? The spirits have spoken. Congrats to Angel and also to all the illustrious nominees, and thanks to all who've supported this wonderful festival. May you all keep productively creating. Cheers.
Hola. ¿Averiado? Sí, algo en el cambio que no sé muy bien qué ha pasado ahí.
Es que estos cambios antiguos suelen dar problemas.
Sí, la verdad que sí.
Nunquam omnis mori.
If you told me at the beginning of this year that at some point I'm going to end up being part of a team that's organizing a film festival, I would laugh in your face, because being part of a film festival has never been on my radar. I would never even be able to dream something like this. But then the pandemic happened, and I needed a creative outlet. I gave filmmaking a try to enter a film festival, and then I entered my film into more film festivals. And somehow, somewhat, some way, became friends with you, Alex, an organizer of a festival. And 2020 has been difficult. The pandemic has been difficult, but so much beauty, so many amazing things have come out of it, despite everything. I've made so many new friends. I've done so many creative things. But Alex, you, Hellbound, it's one of the highlights of 2020 for me. So one of the highlights of my career. And, Hellbound has been such an incredible journey for me. It's an incredible feeling to not just create, but to connect with, a community. I've always loved horror. I'm an actor. Obviously, I love film. But to now be able to connect with everybody, to bring everyone together is just feels really, really good. And, I've never even thought when it comes to film festivals that there could be more aspects to a film festival than just the films and the judging. Doing this community cosplay showcase has been such a rewarding experience, because it's different, it's fun, it's creative, and it allows for interaction and connection. And in a time when connection in person is hard, it's good that we can still do so online, and internationally too, with people around the world. So yeah, Hellbound has not been hell for me. I'm just really grateful and really happy.
I just want to say thank you to all of our creators that submitted their films to us, the ones that we showed and even the ones that we didn't show. Please stay tuned, because you may never know how we may contribute with those in the future. But I just want to say thank you to everyone once again for doing amazing work. I know this time is odd and awkward and weird for all of us doing creative work in the pandemic, but what you all have created has been nothing but short of amazing. So once again, thank you. Stay tuned. We have some goodies. Please check out the credits for more information.
You and Nadia are amazing, amazing people and amazing friends to have made and to have.
I've got the biggest thank you is to you, the filmmakers. Without your amazing works of art, and to every single one of you, not just the 8 filmmakers, and to Angel in Spain for winning Best Film for Nom. It's a wonderful film, and Dave Kendall's creating an original piece of art in your film's name, so look out for that in the future. It's a wonderful treat from Dave, and the talent and creativity we received through our cosplay, through our films, it really makes me humble, and I always kind of put myself down in terms of what I create and I'm part of. Other people say, oh, you've done a great job, but I never really believe it. But when I see your films, that really kind of gives me confidence in what I'm doing. So we're going to do this next year. So it's been a wonderful experience, and here's a little look at all the films again. Okay, see you now. Bye-bye. See you, and have a good night, Michael.
Have a good night, Alex. Have a good night, Nadia. Have a good night, everybody.
See you now. Bye-bye.
She was here when we lost her. What if he finds her first? The geometry of darkness would align. The door shall open. The apparition, it would emerge. Scour the city. Find this girl before it's too late.
The apparition will destroy us all.